Hello everyone! It's a good morning today, and as I woke up, I became very curious how and when computers evolved. So, for today's video, we'll be talking about the generations of computers.
Let's define first what is a computer. A computer is an electronic device that manipulates information or data. It has the ability to store, retrieve, and process data. But the evolution of this complex system started around 1940s with the first generation of computer and has evolved ever since. The first generation of computers used vacuum tubes and plugboards, dated way back 1951 to 1958. The first generation of computers used vacuum tubes as their main logic elements, punch cards to input and externally store data, and rotating magnetic jumps for internal storage of data in programs written in machine language or in assembly language. The following are the characteristics of the first generation computers. First, it used vacuum tubes for circuitry. Electron-emitting metal in vacuum tubes burned out easily. Used magnetic jumps for memory. Were huge, slow, expensive, and many times undependable. Were expensive to operate, were power-hungry, and it generated a lot of heat which would make them malfunction. It solved one problem at a time, and it used input based on punch cards. Electronic numerical integrator and computer is an example of a first-generation computing device. The second generation of computers are transistors and batch filing. The following are the characteristics of the second generation computers. First, it used transistors. It is faster and more reliable than first generation systems. Were slightly smaller, cheaper, and faster. Generated heat through a little less. Still relied on punch cards and printouts for input or output. Allowed assembly and high-level languages. Stored data in magnetic media. Were still costly, needed air conditioning, and introduced assembly language and operating system software. Image shown is an example of a second-generation computing device. Second-generation computers moved from cryptic binary machine language to symbolic or assembly languages, which allowed programmers to specify instructions in words. High-level programming languages were also being developed at this time, such as early versions of Common Business-Oriented Language and the Formula Translation. These were also the first computers that stored their instructions in their memory, which moved from a magnetic jump to a magnetic core technology. The third generation of computers used integrated circuits and can multi-program. This generation dated way back 1964 to 1979. The following are the characteristics of the third generation computers. First, it used ICs. It used parallel processing. Were slightly smaller, cheaper, and faster. It used motherboards, and data was input using keyboards, and output was visualized on the monitors. It used operating systems, thus permitting multitasking. It simplified programming languages. Image shown is an example of a third-generation computing device. The fourth generation of computers used the microprocessor, OS, and GUI. This generation started on 1979 and is still used up until to this date. The following are the characteristics of the fourth generation computers. It used CPUs, which contained thousands of transistors, were much smaller and fitted on a desktop, lamps, and palms. It used mouse and were used in networks. Were cheap, had GUI, and were very fast. Image shown is an example of a fourth-generation computing device. The fifth generation represents the present and the future. Fifth-generation computing devices based on artificial intelligence are still in development, though there are some applications such as voice recognition that are being used today. The use of parallel processing and superconductors is helping to make artificial intelligence a reality. Quantum computation, molecular and nanotechnology will radically change the face of computers in the upcoming years. The image shown is an example of a fifth-generation computing device.
And that's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something from our vlog today. I hope to see you on my next vlogs. Ciao for now!